Okay, our next presenter is Kevin Barry. He's a first-year PhD student in atmospheric science, and he knew he wanted to study atmospheric science when, at the age of 5, he loved looking at weather maps in the newspaper. And with his degree, he hopes to improve the modeling of wildfires. And the title of his presentation is Can Wildfires Influence Ice in Clouds?
Okay, so wildfires have been in the news a lot lately, from California to most recently, the devastating bushfires in Australia. We're hearing about the significant devastating impacts time and time again. Now, unfortunately, wildfires in the western United States, large wildfires, I should mention, have been increasing in every decade since the 1970s. And unfortunately, this trend in a warming climate is expected to keep increasing. So what does that mean? It means that we have to study them and understand them in order to better prepare and predict them in the future. Now, wildfires have a wide array of impacts, not just close to where they're burning, as we normally might think. And that's because wildfires create their own weather systems. From the release of their heat, as I'm showing in the diagram on the left-hand side, when they release heat, it provides a lifting mechanism in order to drive particles such as soil and dust off the surface of the Earth into the atmosphere that can then be transported hundreds of miles away by the wind. So some of these particles, what does that mean? It can have serious air quality impacts and human health hazards, while other particles that are transported long range can impact clouds, as I'm showing here with the red arrow, and that's been the focus of my research. Now, when we think about clouds, we think about rain and precipitation. And that's really important when we're thinking about wildfires. We want more rain to happen, right? But here's the thing. Most of our rain that we get in the United States comes from clouds that have ice in them. Now, ice is actually very rare in the atmosphere because you need a special kind of particle to kind of kick off your ice formation in clouds. Now, because wildfires are increasing in frequency and in number in the future, and because they're a big source of particles from creating their own weather systems from the release of heat, we wanted to find out, could some of these particles from wildfires lead to more ice formation in clouds and thus more rainfall? So how do we do that? Well, we take a military aircraft that was loaded, previously military aircraft that was loaded up with scientific instruments, and we fly directly through the center of smoke plumes. And let me just tell you, because firsthand experience, it's a little bit bumpy on the aircraft as we're going through the smoke plumes. Now, what we've been finding is significant increases in these particles, along with different identities of up to 100 times increase. And so this is huge. And so now we want to model these impacts to better predict where the increases in rainfall would occur in the future. So next time you hear about wildfires, it's not just about the flames, it has far-reaching impacts. Thank you.